don't even like to play love songs because that's depressing.
And the thing is, I love it.
I used to, but now I feel like it's put me in a space that I don't want to be in. Damn, you think I'm broken? Hey guys, welcome back to the Lived It podcast. I am here yet another Monday. Don't we just love Mondays? So I'm here today with my sister. And I know y'all are saying like, sister again, like how much sisters you got? No, this is my sister. Same mama, same drama. This is my sister Shanique. Say hi to everybody.
Hello everybody.
Okay, so Shanique is here. She's gonna just grace us with her presence and just, encourage a lot of people because her story is just so empowering and inspirational, and like you guys just need to hear it. So this is why we are here. Before we get started, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe because you're gonna love it here. Trust me. Leave a comment if it's something you guys want to talk about or discuss. DM me, let me know, and we will talk about it. So, like I said, Shanique and I have the same mother, but we just we've went down totally opposite paths. Like I say, I was raised by my aunt here in Florida. Shanique was raised with my mom and back in the Bahamas. So she's been through a lot, as we all, but like I said, just a different path. So tell us about it, Shanique. You want me to call you Shanique or you want me to call you Gigi?
Gigi.
Okay, we call her Gigi. Why we call you Gigi?
Mommy said that's something that Red bring up because I used to talk. I think she said
Loud or Gigi. No, you see how these names that stick with people for their whole life.
So that's what my name. Yeah.
Well, her name is Shanique. Well, we call her Gigi, and you guys just got the backstory. And I was today years old when I found that out. So, share with us, Gigi.
Well, I would start off by saying, first, let me jump all the way forward. First, I have an amazing son by the name of Khalil. And he has been a tremendous blessing in my life.
How old is Khalil?
He is 1 year old. He's gonna be 2 in July.
July 23rd on my birthday. Me and my nephew have the same exact birthday.
Couldn't wait.
Yes.
Yes, and I would just say that he has helped me grow in ways that I would never imagine. Not only physically, mentally, spiritually, the works.
Right.
I would start off by saying that he is a lot. but
we all start our conversation like that. When we start talking about our kids, we do this deep breath like, all right.
Yes, he is a lot. He is a handful to me, but like I said, he's been very much so a blessing in my life. He was born, like I said, July 23rd, 2018. He was also born with trisomy 21, which is a type of Down syndrome. Through my pregnancy, I had him in America, but through most of the months of my pregnancy, I was in Nassau, where the Bahamas. Nassau, Bahamas. Yes. Where I attended doctor there, and I felt like everything was good.
It was a normal pregnancy.
It was nothing alarming to me, or what I've been told. But I came over to America and I had him, and I found out, right after I had him, as the nurses took him out, they were like talking amongst themselves, saying, they think he has Down syndrome.
So you overheard them?
Yeah, I just overheard them. They wasn't talking to me.
Right.
I had to have an emergency C-section.
Okay.
Because his heart rate started to drop. So I had to have an emergency C-section, and my mommy was there, and it's like we just...
Shout out Shanty.
Yes, love you. Happy Mother's Day. But we just started to hear the nurses saying that he looks, his features wise, looks as if he had Down syndrome, but obviously they had to test to make sure that he did.
Right. And you said you did you did your prenatal care in the Bahamas.
I did that in the Bahamas. I did my ultrasounds, I did my checkups and everything, but
they never tested.
They never went into the nitty gritty to say test his chromosomes and all of that. So
so it was a surprise when he was born.
Very much so. It was a surprise. I only heard them saying it, but like I said, they couldn't determine 100% sure that he had it until they actually tested him for it. They just went by the features they know children with Down syndrome to have.
Right.
So they, like I said, I heard them saying it amongst themselves, and after they did everything they needed to do with me and took me back to the room, they started to talk to me and told me that they think that he has Down syndrome and that they keep hearing a murmur in his heart.
Right.
They allowed him to spend that night with me when he was born. They allowed him to spend that night
in the hospital.
In the hospital, yes. And that morning they came in and they took him to the NICU. Mm-hmm. And then they ran the tests that they needed to run far as with his chromosome and all that stuff, and checked his heart. And they realized that he had a heart deficiency, a heart defect, sorry. Mm-hmm. Even before they realized that, found out that he had Down syndrome, but they knew that the heart defect that he had is a trait with the Down syndrome that he has.
So it was still all connected.
Right, it was all connected. So it was only giving them an affirmative, this is probably what he has. But they waited for the tests. He was in the NICU for 2 weeks. We found out that we got the tests about 3 days after he was born, and they determined that yes, his tests came out positive and he had trisomy 21 Down syndrome, which is each child has 46 chromosomes, 23 from the mom, 23 from the dad. But Khalil has his 21 chromosome, he has 3 instead of 2.
What?
So okay.
You lost me.
Let me explain it like this.
If you want to bring in math, I'm like, what?
It's 46 chromosomes in the body altogether.
Right.
23 from the mom, 23 from the dad. Khalil has 47.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
And it had to either come from me, my gene, or his father's gene.
Right.
Which would, if you don't really know that you have a trait of it, you would have to be tested for it.
Right.
So that's basically what it is.
But neither one of you were tested to see?
No. Okay. That's on my to-do list to do, just in case that if I want to have more children in the future, I would have to know that it's a possibility that it's a part of me and it could happen again.
Right.
And allow that to be, on my conscience or my decision or whatever like that.
Okay.
So yeah, we found that out, and then, like I said, before we found it out, they already told me about the heart defect that he has, whereas he had numerous of holes in his heart that needed to be repaired.
So that the blood could properly pump to the body.
Right. So he did that at the age of 4 months.
A full open heart surgery.
A full open heart surgery. He spent his first 2 weeks of his life in the NICU at first. We came out, and then in November 2018,
you went back in.
He went back in, and he did the full open heart surgery. But approximately supposed to take about, I think they said, about 8 hours. But when they went in, it didn't really go as
well as they thought it out.
It was gonna go, so they had to spend a few more hours in there. So we were
It was
just
nerve-wracking.
me and my family, well, most of my family, not most, but my family was there, my mom, my aunts, my cousins, you know. We were there just waiting for hours, people coming, going, making sure we were good. And we waited. He came out. When he finally came out, probably I would say it took about 12 hours.
Right.
And when he came out, they told me that there was a problem in the, not really a problem, but when they went in and closed it up, they had to examine it to see if everything went well.
Right.
But there was still a leak, so they had to go back in
again.
And that's why it took so long. So when he finally came out, they couldn't close up the chest because the inside was so swollen.
Right.
They wanted to just keep it open for it to go down, and then they would close it back up. So his chest was open for about 3 days.
Oh my gosh. And the pictures were like full. It was just so everything was there.
Imagine seeing it and this was something especially in the Bahamas, you would hear about certain things like this, but you would never
actually experience it.
Right, you could actually see it for yourself, and it's actually happening to somebody that you know and love and care so much about. So
you know what it is too. I think when they're doing all the testing and the ultrasounding and everything, they run a test for that, and if they know that your child has is gonna have Down syndrome, they give you the option to abort.
Right.
So a lot of people are just saying, you know what, let's skip the headache and abort.
And that's why every day, no lie, every time I pray, I thank God that
you didn't find that out when you were pregnant.
I didn't find that out. Sometimes I'd be like, it would have been good that I had found out, but I'm glad I didn't, because I'm sure I would have been like, I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
I can't. And like I say, being not, especially growing up on a small island, everybody know everybody business, but we're not used to seeing someone with Down syndrome
just walking around freely
we ain't used to that. We ain't used to knowing people that
actually have these disabilities.
So I was like, my mind was just going, and I was just like, how I could deal with this. When they gave me that information, I was by myself. My mommy wasn't at the hospital that day. My aunt wasn't there, and I was devastated because when I think about Down syndrome, I think about so much, I wouldn't say bad things, but because I wasn't informative about it at that time, a lot of negative things were in my mind, oh, my child won't be able to do this, everybody will be looking at him
he'll be picked on, he'll be a burden,
Yeah, so everything was just going through my mind, how am I going to deal with this? How am I going to be able to explain this to people? I know I'm an emotional type of person, so I don't want nobody looking at my child as
differently.
Differently from everybody else.
Right.
So it was a lot at that time, trying to process it.
Right.
But through the whole time, especially through the surgery, it really grew my faith in God. I was at the point
you was at the breaking point. There's nowhere to go.
Either you could sink
or you could swim.
Or you could swim, because right now, only person can help you and your child at this moment is God. You could have your family there for you, your friends there for you, but God has the last say.
Right.
And even though finding out all this after he was born, at the end of the day, he was done here.
Right.
I had grew I don't think I could love him any more than I do at this present time. At that time, everything was I just want my son to live. I don't care that he has Down syndrome. I don't care that he would probably have it harder than his cousins, or I didn't care. I just wanted him to live, to thrive. And like I said, after the surgery, his heart was open and his chest was open, and the doctors, they have the bulletin, like the child's name, when he came in, why the reason he's in, what the nurses named him, and like objectives of him and stuff like that. So one of the things that they had up there is he is a fighter, and he was literally a fighter. Like they had him on all type of different meds to keep him calm, to help him not have pain. And this boy, even in some of the videos that I took, he's trying to yuck
all the tubes and everything else.
He's trying. They literally had to put the no-nos on his hand to like keep his hand down, because the doctor was like, I can't give him any more sedatives. Like he's at the max and he's moving like. And from then I know I was like, my son was destined to be on this earth.
Right.
And he was in there for about 2 weeks. 2 weeks again. He was there for about 2 weeks. It was rough.
How was it like leaving the hospital without your baby? Because as mothers, like being pregnant, we always say, when after this happens, we can't have our whole life planned out. And then it's like you're like, okay, you're being released, and I have to leave my son.
Like, but the first time when I had to leave him in the NICU, that was crazy, because like I said, I was then ready to just have him and be able to go home. We had everything set up, like just ready for him to go. And that was hard. At least when he did the surgery, they gave me the option to stay in the hospital with him.
Right.
So the full 2 weeks when he did the surgery, I was able to. I wasn't.
I know, you was literally there. He was like, I gotta go. I might come home and catch a break, but I'm going back.
I am literally going back, and I slept there. I went home. I went home a few times to say, just take a little rest and not just chill with the family and try to take my mind off the situation. But I mean, even though it didn't really help to say take my mind off it, but it helped me to, relax for an hour or two, and I went right back. But the 2 weeks when he first born, I only was able to go the visiting hours.
Right.
And that was extremely hard for me, being, I'm a first time mom.
Right.
I know my child dealing with all these things, like I literally want to be there. And he had different complications, like they had to teach him how to suck out the bottle. And like with the heart problems, they basically had him on a feeding tube and on a breathing to help him, get stronger to be able to come out. So that was hard. It was an experience. Right. I would say that, and it still is, because it's still going on.
Yeah, and every day is something new.
Every day is something. And seeing him laying in the hospital after the surgery, it just, it took my faith in God to a whole different level. Right. Especially, I think it was about the 5th day in the hospital, they gave him a blood transfusion. And they were experimenting. I wouldn't say, I could say experimenting, because they wasn't sure what his body would take far as the meds that he needed to take after he came out of the hospital to help with the heart. So they did a blood transfusion, and they tested one of the meds on him, and it reacted because of the blood transfusion, so his heart stopped.
You were there?
I was there. He literally had a room, and they had a cot for me in the back of his bed. Right. So I was just laying down. The doctors, they used to come and go, so they would say hey to me or whatever, but talk among themselves about the situation, because they had a meeting for each patient every morning. Right. So then they would give me his ups and downs, what's going on with him and all that. So this, like I said, they did the blood transfusion, and they gave him a medicine, and it counteract. So his heart stopped. I just kept hearing these alarms go off, and I didn't realize that it was inside the room I was in. Until I started to see different doctors and nurses come inside the room and was crowding him.
Right.
And I'm like, they talking so loud amongst themselves, I can't even ask, like, what's going on, what's happening. I'm just hearing them saying code blue and...
Right.
So I'm like, hold on, I know what code blue is. Like,
yeah, everybody know what code blue is. When you hear that, it's going down.
That's not a good sign. So I'm just there, and one of the nurses realized that because, like I said, I was in the back, so you couldn't really tell that I was there.
Right.
Unless I raised my head or they came in the back for something and they saw me. So when I actually got up, like to say, hold on, I know code blue ain't nothing good.
Right.
One of the nurses, she came for me and she took me out. They closed the door and everything, and she was like, trying to explain to me, well, his heart stopped because of
the medicine
and the blood transfusion or whatever, and they just basically they trying to get his heart to start pumping again. So at that point, I was like, trying my best not to think the worst. I just started praying. I was like, God, you bring us too far to just let him go just like this. Because like I said, had I known before all of this, he would have been a goner. Literally.
I mean, if we being honest,
he would have literally been a goner. So I'm just thinking like, God, you bring us too far to allow him to just go like this. Like this is not his ending, this is not his story. And I just started, I messaged, if I didn't message my mommy, I messaged Annie. Mm-hmm. And I told him,
your friend?
Aniki.
Oh, okay.
I messaged her and I was like, between her and me, I messaged them first saying, Khalil has a code blue. Mm-hmm. And it just so happens that they was already on the way to the hospital for his visit.
Right.
So, you know, and she done...
I already know.
She done put the pedal to the metal. Like, after the whole situation, like, they had a whole story about...
how they got there.
Literally all running off the road trying to get there. And that lasted for about, I would say, 10 minutes.
Just trying to like get his heart
to start beating again. Mm-hmm. And that was like...
It felt like days.
Listen, that felt like forever. I was like... And when they finally, when my family came, everything was like nothing ever happened.
Right.
He was then...
already back and all that.
He was then back and everything, and... It was like, what happened? I was like, listen. And the doctor came and he started to explain to us what happened, and it was normal for something like that to happen. Like that was
so they were expecting it,
right? Because before he did the surgery and everything, you know how we had go. You got on.
But also keep in mind, guys, she was at Joe DiMaggio Children's Hospital, so he's literally at one of the best hospitals in South Florida to deal with the things that he was dealing with. So it was it was definitely so like you said, he was destined to be here, but just the fact that you actually coming over here to have the baby and all that stuff, it was just like, it just was like the way it happened. It was just like it all just folded out like that was
right. Because even coming over here, I was like, Lord, I hadn't been over here in forever.
Yeah, years. Like she barely even comes here. So
it was like, how I dealing with this? How I gonna pay my bills? Mm-hmm. Like, this is gonna be a lot. I'm not an American, so obviously I'm gonna have a bill like.
And also single parenting, like doing it all by yourself.
Doing it by myself. His father wasn't there, still isn't here. So it was like, how am I gonna deal with this? And every day I prayed, I kept the faith, I trusted God, and
always
every day, like anything I needed, anything he needed, it was just being provided for me. And every day I thank God for the people that were in my life and still are in my life during this period, because they have been like a tremendous blessing to me,
Right.
and I know it only was God and is God that really touched their hearts, because this day and time, you know,
people don't want to help themselves,
like,
let alone help somebody else.
In my own life, and you think I have time to reach out to you or help you,
Right.
and I just know that God had my back, and He still do have my back, because like I said, I'm still doing it on my own, and
another thing, like I was saying, I did an episode, Getting to Know Your Host, where I was talking about like my worst moment, my rock bottom moment for me, and I mentioned that, you know, after I had my son, I moved in with my sister just to like save some money and rebuild my life or whatever, and that was around the time that you were here,
right?
So it was just so funny, because I knew, had I still been in my home,
right,
you would have been with me, and it played out so well, because my aunt and her husband, they have a special needs daughter, and who also goes to Joe DiMaggio weekly and does therapy. So it played out so beautifully, because I would not have known.
And I'm just gonna say, the thing about it is, she knows so much about the medical aspect of everything, and how to deal with the doctors, and how to deal with the medicines, and what the different terminology, because the doctors, they just basically talking doctor.
Right. And then another thing, and they do it all day, so it's like
they did effortlessly. They ain't even trying to realize that she don't really understand what they're trying to say.
Right.
So I thank God for my auntie, because she was then she was like my speed dial. Auntie, they saying this, like, what this mean? Because even though I asking them, I telling them I understand, they explaining it the best way they could, but I still ain't really understanding. So she said, but that basically saying A, B, C, D.
And listen,
like, oh, okay.
I could just see me being in the hospital with you and even with the heart surgery, I never came to the hospital. And mommy messaged me one day, and she was like, Fancy, you know you gotta come and see Khalil, and he's doing good. But at that time, she had already showed me the picture with his heart and everything being outside his body. I'm like, nope, I'm not going. Like, I don't even want to get attached to nobody that's gonna die soon. Like, I was like, I'm not doing it. Like, send me pictures. I couldn't take it. Like, I was like, that's how I felt. I was like, I can't do it.
Right.
And so like after he got so much older, I was like,
this can't be the same baby.
Right? This is the same baby I didn't even want to get attached to.
Right.
And here he is, like, just doing his own thing, striving.
Yes, doing great.
Doing great. But another thing we need to touch on, you mentioned that you were single parenting. So I kind of want to get into the aspect of exactly how you got doing it by yourself, and, you know, how that came about.
Wow.
But do I say it when I think back?
Thank you for that for my baby. Anyway. But how I actually got pregnant. Well, not how, but
God, please spare me the details.
what led to me being pregnant was I was in a relationship for about 2 years. I dated. I won't lie, he was a great guy. He was a really great guy. He really respected me, loved me, cherished me. And him and I, for the past year, like our second year in the relationship, we were trying to have a baby. You couldn't tell me like this wasn't my husband, this was the man, like everything I prayed for and wanted and needed, like this was him. And like I said, we were trying, and it never happened, and he ended up getting into some problems, ended going to prison or whatever, and at that point, not only was I broken, I was like, what am I gonna do next? Because it wasn't like I was home, I was on a different island.
In his home.
In his hometown. Just me and him.
But how long did he get though?
He got a year and a half.
Okay.
But him and I, we were living together. So it was like, I felt like I was there just with him. Like, I didn't have no other family. I had another friend there, but it was like me and him had grown so close, and our life had already intertwined with one another. It was like when he left, it was like,
and it was sudden. It wasn't like,
it wasn't something that was expected. It wasn't something that was like a court case that was pending. It's just something that happened, and
he was here and he was gone.
Literally, here today, gone tomorrow.
Right.
So it was like, where am I going to go from here? I'm in his place. He's gone now. He has his family. Not that it was an issue being there with his family, but not with his family, but being there with us, living in like a family home.
Right.
But it was just me and him. But it was like, this your family house. Like,
and you're gone. How am I supposed to just sit up here?
I can't just be here and just expect everything to be the way it was.
Right.
You know, even though I was working and everything, but it was like, it was still different.
Right.
So he went, and I had this guy friend. Him and I, like I said, I moved to a different island. So I started to meet new people, have different, I wouldn't say friends, but associates. But what I figured as friends at that time.
Right.
But I met new people, and this one particular guy, him and I, we met through a mutual friend, but all of us hung out together. It was like we clicked, basically, and we used to go to his house and just chill, and him and I would talk and just casual talk. He had his family, not married, but he had a girlfriend and a child at the time. So he had this thing going on, and I was secured and safe and okay in my relationship with my boyfriend. So him and I, we just had a friendship, what I thought was a friendship.
Right.
But when my boyfriend went away, basically it was me running to him for comfort and to talk to or whatever, and it was like just one thing led to another, and we started having sex.
Right.
But it was still like a friendship.
Right.
We were hanging out. If I felt the type of way, or if I was obviously home alone because my boyfriend had already got locked up, so I would call him and say, "Man, come for me. I lonely, or I need some company, or whatever." And like one thing would just end up leading to another, and we started. At first, it was safe sex, but I guess as time went on, I just got comfortable with him.
Or do you think, you mentioned that you and your boyfriend was trying and nothing was happening, so you just felt like, maybe I just can't have kids?
Right. I was just like, all this time me and him been trying, like, maybe I just can't get pregnant.
Right.
Maybe it just ain't for me.
Right.
So it wasn't even, and then at that point in time, I was like so distraught and so hurt, like.
Were you like angry at your boyfriend for like getting arrested? Like resentful?
I was very upset. I had a lot of anger in my heart for him, and sleeping with somebody else wasn't out of that anger. It was more of like, you leave me to fend for myself. Even though I was working and everything, he was still like the head. He was still like doing what he needed to do. He was still like my comforter, literally like a best friend to me.
Right.
And I knew every day I was coming home to you.
Right.
And you would be home, or I know you coming home after work or whatever. So knowing after work coming home and knowing that this nigga is nowhere to be found, like he ain't had, like he literally gone, like he actually put himself. No, I mean, no, I want to go to jail, but you know what. You know, if you go and
man, listen, if I'm your woman, I'm your lady, you know, like, you need to let me know what's up. Like, don't be having me pop like, babe, I was going through a rough patch, I'm gonna have to do the.
That was one of the things I said. I was like, come on, like, you know, we talk about everything.
Right. Let me know when you
and the thing about it is, what he did was, he waited until I took vacation on my job. I went to Nassau I think I went for a week, for my week's vacation. And he dropped me to the airport that morning, and that next morning after I went to Nassau, I got the call that he was in jail. So you actually waited till I leave the island to do what you had to do.
Right.
So it was like, okay, you had this plan. You know I was going away, so you did this because you know I wasn't going to be here.
Right.
So it was like, you had enough time to think about the pros and the cons.
Right.
And I didn't feel like the pros didn't justify what you did.
Right.
I didn't feel like you had to do it. We wasn't in no dire need of anything that you had to do what you did.
Right.
So I still went and visited him, make sure he was good in jail, make sure he had everything he needed. But during that time, I was still
seeing the other guy. Seeing the baby daddy. Seeing the baby's father.
The baby's daddy.
Does baby daddy sound ratchet? Baby's
He's
father?
The baby daddy.
Alright, the baby daddy. We're going to caption as a baby daddy.
He's the baby daddy, no caption.
No cap.
Yeah, so I was still seeing him, and I felt bad about it, but it was basically like, I was at the mindset, like, if you didn't go, none of this was going to happen.
Right.
Because I was literally happy.
Right.
So, I was just very distraught, and even though I still made sure he was good while he was in, I just was like...
You were still looking for comfort elsewhere.
Right, I still needed someone to be there for me. Or I thought I needed someone. Because when you really look at it now, when I look back at it,
was it even?
Yeah, and some like that wasn't a long time. Like that, especially in prison years, if you don't know, in the Bahamas, a year is like 9 months.
And listen, a year is like a slap on the wrist because I know people that have went to jail for 18 years and come out like, I'm back. Back on the scene.
Like a year.
That's like chump change.
Prison time isn't a long time, so, but I wasn't even thinking about really, that's only 9 months. I was like, I used to see you every day. I used to having you by my side.
That's 9 months too long.
Like, that's 9 months that you did not need to be there.
Right.
So I'm gonna make sure you straight, but I'm not gonna put my life on hold.
Right.
I'm not gonna wallow in a decision pity myself over a decision that you made.
Right.
You know? So
do you think that sleeping with the baby daddy was more like out of anger or was it like, it's more like, I'm lonely, I just need some company?
Yeah, because like I said, I thought he was a friend, and he wasn't anyone that I wanted to be with or was in love with, or
y'all just had a mutual terms, what is it called?
we chilled, and if something happened, it happened.
Oh, y'all was Netflix and chilling.
Right. Or if I felt the type of way one night and I just needed that
little
touch,
thing.
If I needed that, I would call you and say, come pick me up.
So what was it like when you found out that you were pregnant? Did you tell him immediately?
I told him immediately, but when I found out, I was back home in Bimini. I remember
because mommy called me. Mommy was like, "Gigi pregnant." I said, "Why you don't stop spreading people's business?" She said, "Well, what?" I was like, "Cause she did the same thing when I was pregnant." I told her I'm pregnant. She told the entire island, my mother was so ecstatic. She got drunk and went on, and they said she was on the bar saying, "I have a grandbaby on the way." So when she came and told me that that she was pregnant, it was all like she just was that happy.
Right.
But when she told me,
I'm the first child, but I was the last one to have a child.
Long overdue.
So she was good. Like, hold on, how do you get pregnant when this person isn't even here?
Right.
And I'm like, don't worry about that. I just sent her the text now.
Listen, I said the same thing when she messaged me. She was like, "Oh, your sister pregnant, I was like, how you know she want me there? And she's like, well, you ain't just anybody. I said, well, wait, her boyfriend's in jail. Right. Who the hell is she pregnant for? Then I was like, she's back in Bimini. Oh, Lord, don't tell me she pregnant for them Bimini boy.
God forbid. Shit.
It wouldn't have been much different, right? Shit. Yeah, go for the goal.
Ain't no difference. Same thing still happening. Really didn't dodge a bullet.
Right.
That bullet hit me straight in the chest.
But you lived.
But yeah, I'm living, surviving. But yes, I went to Bimini. I took the test the 1st of December.
Mm-hmm.
I never forget it. I took the test and those 2 lines popped up immediately. And I took a picture of the test and I sent it to him. And he was like, what that mean? Like, what? He's like, I don't understand what the...
Right, the lines.
What the lines, or yeah, what all that entails or whatever. So I was like, that's 2 lines, that's mean I'm pregnant or whatever. So his first reaction was an abortion. Because like I said, he had his girlfriend and she had just had a baby. Well, he probably was like 1 at that time.
Right.
But basically she had just had a baby.
Right.
So it was like me and you in that type of space where or we in love with each other or you know, so and I was okay with that. I was like, I felt the same way too because I still love my boyfriend at this time. I still go into the prison to make sure he
it was like a mutual understanding.
It was very mutual.
Five cutters say exchange ain't no rubber.
It really ain't. And I didn't have any hard feelings about him saying it. Because like I said, I didn't want a family with him. I didn't want a child with him. I wanted my family with who I was with.
So when he offered for the abortion...
The deal was he pay half, I pay half.
Right.
But he never came up with his half. So I'm like, no.
So had he given you the entire thing, you would have went? You would have.
I would have. At that time, I would have. But after he didn't, I
didn't pressure him.
Yeah, I didn't pressure him at all. I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, Gigi, this your not mistake, but this your choice just as much as it was his own. So at the end of the day, you make up your mind. But put in the back of your mind that you're gonna be the one that is gonna get leave holding the bucket. You're gonna be the one to get leave dealing with the situation. So weigh out what it is and make a decision. And I was just like, I was thinking about it and I was like, I was 26 at the time.
Well, when you found out?
27, but yeah.
When you found out?
Yeah.
Oh, you were 26 years old.
26 years old.
Oh, I thought you said 26 weeks. I'm like, what?
No, I was 26. I was about maybe going on 8 weeks when I found out. But I was 26 years old at the time.
So it was like you.
I was like, you know what? Just.
So wait.
No.
As the months grew, as the months went on and the baby grew, like, did he ever like become more involved?
The thing with that is, we after I told him, we spoke. Weeks went on and he was like, okay. After I told him, but I made the decision, I'm just gonna keep the baby. And I figured he would still be there because he was family oriented. He had both his mom and his dad in the household that grew up with him. They were married for umpteen years, so it was like...
You thought he was going to be like...
I thought that he would be the stand-up person and be there for his child regardless of the situation.
Right.
But after the weeks went on, he told me, like I said, I found out in December, round about the ending part of December, the beginning of January, he was like, okay, you can have the baby, but no one could know that it's my baby. And I'm like, no, that ain't gonna work. Like, what am I supposed to do? Say I don't know what
saying I'm pregnant for Jesus or something? No.
Blame somebody else when I know is no. I say no, I'm not gonna do that. So he was like, well, if it can't be like that, then I can't be a part of the child's life. And at that time, I was so emotional pregnant. I was just over it. I was like, if that's how you feel, then okay. But in the back of my mind, I felt like as time go on, maybe he'll change his mind, or maybe he just needs time to wrap his head around it to be able to tell his family or to tell his girlfriend or however it go.
Right.
So even though it was on my mind, it was still like, whatever.
Right. What about telling your boyfriend who was in prison?
Well,
did you tell them right away?
right away. I found out. This is what I kind of regret doing, not telling him, but the timing I told him.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I just should have waited,
Mm-hmm.
but at that time it was like
Overwhelming.
it was just so overwhelming. Like I couldn't. Like I said, he was like my best friend. We used to talk about, and it's not a cliche. Like we used to talk about everything. Pillow talk, gone to bed, nothing,
Nothing left out in the open.
nothing leave out. Like however we felt like nothing. So it was like, Gigi, just get over it. Just tell him like I can't go visit him, and not tell him.
Right.
And I got pregnant in November. I found out
Wait, when did he go to jail? Like, what's the time frame?
he went to jail.
July.
No, he went to jail
June.
August.
Okay.
August. And I got pregnant in
November.
October, the ending part of October.
Mm-hmm.
And I missed my period in November. So I said, okay. After I missed my period, I was like, okay, I can wait for the whole of November because maybe my cycle changing.
Yeah.
Something. So I said, I can wait till the whole of November over. And if it don't come time as December, I'll just take a test.
Right.
So that's what happened. It didn't come. So the 1st of December, I took a test and it came out positive. So they have this, at the prison, they have this Christmas visit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a couple of days before Christmas.
You did not drop that Christmas ball.
I did.
No.
I did. That's
You
why
did it wrong.
I did. That's why. But like I said, I was so emotional at that time. It was like I just can't go visit him and just look at him and
Right.
make him feel like
everything's okay and it's not.
And then I was so emotional, like because I know what I'd already do. So
felt
I
guilty?
sit down and I look at him, I start crying.
Right.
So he of course he can ask me why you crying, what was going on, what happened, or whatever. And I just told him, I was like, I didn't make up in my mind going there that I was gonna tell him.
Right.
But like I said, as soon as I saw his face, I just broke down. And he was like, what happened? What's going on? And I was just like, a lot happening out here or whatever. And he was like, what? So I finally tell him, well, I'm pregnant. And he thought it was for an ex. Because he had a running with one of my exes. So he was like, don't tell me it's such and such a person. And I was like, no. But I think he would have felt better if he knew it was the ex.
Rather than this person, because he knew him.
He knew him. They wasn't friends or anything, but the island's small, so
everybody knows everybody.
Everybody knows everybody. Every island in the Bahamas is small, guys.
Everybody knows everybody.
Everybody know everybody, regardless of what island you live on. So he knew the person, and I could have called a different name at that time, but I just wanted everything to just be
out in the open.
Out in the open.
And
I
you
didn't want to have no extra
stress
stress because, like I said, at the time I didn't decide that I'm going to keep it.
Right.
So I was like, it's whatever. I'm just going to let everything out. And that's what I did. And he was...
heartbroken.
Yes. Angry is an understatement. He was like really hurt and he was really upset. He was distraught, which was understandable. And so...
And he had every right to feel.
He did. He had every single right. And even though he acted in a way that I figured it wouldn't be so bad because, okay, he in prison, so he ain't that much he can do, you know. But it was still a lot.
Guards.
Thank God we had a gate between us. But it really broke my heart. It really hurt me. But I was determined that this is the guy for me. Right. Regardless of what my mistakes was, regardless of my choices, and regardless that I'm pregnant.
This for somebody else.
For someone else, this is...
Listen, women will raise a man's outside kids, but these men ain't doing it. They be like, no.
But they really can't.
Yeah. If he had came home with that baby, you would have loved it unconditionally.
I really would have. But he was, at that point in time, he was like, really upset about it. So I left. But I already made up in my mind that this is my man, and I ain't leaving him behind those bars by himself.
Right.
Every month I am going to see him.
Right.
Every time he have his visitation, which was every month because he was the maximum, I am going to see him.
Right.
And I told him in December, January came, and I went and I said, I'm gonna tour this long line pregnant and all in this hot sun because this man been there for me. This man showed me what love was.
To hotline to visit.
To visit. Okay. On the visiting line.
Mm-hmm.
Pregnant. I going through this because he was always there for me.
Right.
And it could be up to him whether he want to see me or not.
Right.
So I did that. He saw me. He said, well, he had a month to think about it.
It wasn't much else he could
do. So he had a month to think about it, and he was just like, he's like, you know, Kiki, he's like, I love you. He's like, and he's like, now I realize that maybe I was the problem.
Right.
Because he was in his 30s at the time, and he had no kids.
Right.
He tried and it wasn't happening, so he said, I realized that I'm the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I still love you. I could be there. I could help you with the baby when I come out or whatever. We could be a family.
Mm-hmm. And
I took that as gospel.
Right.
I continued visiting him, making sure he had everything he needed in there until it was time for me to leave to come to the States, which was in May.
Right.
So I was there the whole time until I came in May.
Mm-hmm.
And he was to get released in July.
And at that time, you still weren't contacting with the baby daddy?
The last time I spoke with the baby daddy was in February 2018. From then to now.
Oh, wow.
We've had no communication. I've tried to reach out.
Mm-hmm.
When I first had him,
mm-hmm.
and I realized what was really going on with him and his different situations, I said, you know what? Let me just still...
Right.
let him know. He had me blocked on WhatsApp and all that stuff. He ended up getting a new number. So we had mutual friends.
Right.
So I got his new number. I sent him a message, and I made sure I put everything
in that one message. So it's no back and forth.
So also, even if he decided to block me, you know the facts.
Right.
And let your conscience be your guide.
Right.
You know. So I sent him a message and I told him everything. And no, before that, let me backtrack. When I had Khalil in July,
mm-hmm.
I sent him a message on Facebook,
mm-hmm.
telling him all about his medical issues,
mm-hmm.
and the fact that I had him and he's a boy and all that stuff or whatever. He blocked me on Facebook.
He never responded.
Never responded. He read it but blocked me.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, you know what? With people being in my ear, well, people who know him and know his family being in my ear, telling me about his mom and how his mom is a upstanding person and how she would understand and she would want to be in her grandchild's life. She's in her other grandchildren's lives and this thing, the next thing, whatever. So I was like, you know what, Gigi, it can't hurt. Mm-hmm. Reach out to his mother, because at the end of the day, I still wanted my son to know that side of his family, to be able to...
Especially coming from not having a father yourself.
Myself, right. And the fact that his doctors needed and wanted...
More information
about what was going on with him. Not just my side, but their side.
Right.
So, I said, you know what? Mothers could
yeah, they understand.
Yeah, they're understandable. She'll be able to reach out to him or whatever if she's level-headed or whatever like that. So I sent her a message.
Mm-hmm.
Her and I, we never spoke.
Mm-hmm.
I knew her. I've seen her around. She always used to come into my workplace.
Mm-hmm.
We've had conversations about the job and about, other little things around the island, being in my work, but she never knew personally who I was.
Right.
So... I sent her a message. I told her who I was. I told her about everything about the baby and all that stuff. I was very
polite,
sweet, all the good stuff.
This sound like they're taking a turn.
Respectable, but she turned around and she blocked me.
Right.
So I was just at that point, I was like, you know what? God, I just put it in your hands. Like,
right.
Whatever they decide to do, that on them. But I could be there for my child regardless.
Right.
And when he had to do the surgery, his doctors was like really on me because
I'd have been like, I don't know who the godfather is.
See, I was like, he's nowhere in no shape and form in his life. Like, I know nothing about him.
Medically.
Medically.
Mm-hmm.
I know I can't answer any questions. And I can't force him to be a part of something that he don't want to be a part of.
Right.
But I got his number from a mutual friend, and I was like, you know what? I just was looking at my baby. This was after his surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? He's worth another chance. He's worth me giving it another chance to reach out.
Right.
So I did that, and that's when he blocked me off WhatsApp. He read the message and then blocked me. So I was like, you know what, God, I put it in your hands. Like, however, the cookies crumbles, that's what it is, but I have.
How hurtful was that, though?
Listen, that was, and still is, hurtful. Like to know, like, I could never know. And I guess that's the difference between a mother and a father.
Right.
But I can't know that I have someone that's literally a part of me. Like, I helped bring this person in this world. And I feel no type of anything to even reach out and ask, is he okay?
Right.
Knowing it ain't like you oblivious to what's going on. I sent you messages so you know what's happening or what has already transpired.
Right.
So not even to say, how the baby doing?
Right.
Is he okay? We never had any type of hatred towards each other. Like I said, it wasn't like it was a relationship where it ended badly or anything like that. But it's like he just did a completely 360.
Right.
Like he just wasn't, he was there one day to say, oh, you was there to make the baby. But
after that, you out of there.
You, like they say, disappear?
Yeah.
You literally disappeared.
And another thing, that's why I always like, I tell like my younger cousins and stuff, like it's just so important to like, just wait.
Yes.
And know who you're dealing with and like just casually having sex with people. It's really not worth being tied to anyone.
At the end of the day, like, how do you really know a person? That's why I say,
when you're in a relationship with them.
But that's why I say like I said, it ain't like I just pop up and know this guy. We had a relationship, a friendship.
Right.
Or what I thought was a friendship. So to me, I figured, well, I know this person well enough to have sex with him to know that, okay, even though we're both physically just horny. I could say horny.
Horny.
Physically just horny. I'm not doing this because I'm just horny.
Right.
I'm doing this because I trust you as a friend and I came to you.
Right.
I had numerous of other people that was attracted to me or that I knew liked me that I could have gone to. But they didn't have the same relationship that I had with him. So I genuinely trusted that he was taking care of me.
The red flag was that he had a girlfriend and a family.
Right, and see, it didn't matter really because I had my boyfriend. Just, like I said, if my boyfriend didn't really go to jail, that probably would have never really happened because I didn't have no reason for it to happen.
Right.
You know, but that's why I always just think now is like I realize why God designed children and sex for marriage.
Right.
Because
you want to be tied to somebody
not only after you have the child, but just that sex act on the whole, that's a tie in itself.
Right.
And you have to be able to trust this person that if you do get pregnant, he's gonna be there.
Right.
He's gonna make sure that not only you straight during pregnancy, the baby is straight after pregnancy.
Right.
You know, so and even though, like I said, you never really know a person in marriage, that's your husband. You going to God for that. So it's more
trust.
It's more trust and more reliability
And respect.
That this person is gonna be there for me and my child. You know.
Right.
So I don't regret at all having my baby, but choices and decisions that I made in the past surrounding the whole pregnancy, I do regret.
Right.
I wish I waited. I wish I had thought more into what I did. And at this present time, I lost the relationship with my ex.
and your friend.
And I lost my friend. So it was like
what you thought was a friend.
What I thought was a friend, but I gained my son.
Right.
And he trumps it all.
He's amazing.
He trumps it all.
And as crazy as it sounds, I was talking to mommy and I just was telling her, like, you know, when we first found out everything was going on, which was just so weird because, like you said, coming from the Bahamas, you don't know people like that.
Right.
And even being an American, like, you know, we see it, we're exposed to it, we go to schools with people with, but it's like you don't know anyone. So when I got the news, I was like, what?
Right.
But then when I started to see how you dealt with him, I started to say, like, of all of us, like, guys, my mom has 4 girls and 1 boy. And of all of us, I always say you're the most patient, the most kind, the most loving, the most understanding, because we are all obnoxious in our own ways. But, like, I feel like you're perfect for him. Like, you're perfect for him.
And to tell you the truth, at the time, I was like, what the hell? Like, what I do? How I got... But now I'm like, boy, you was literally designed for me.
Right.
Like, you literally is mine.
And to bring so much joy.
And so much happiness. Like, I've dealt with depression and stuff for a lot of years of my life.
Right.
But since I've had him, I've had so much motivation for life,
right,
for living, for just wanting the best for him.
Right.
Like, I never really knew what it was to put anyone else before myself.
Right.
And it's like...
And for a long time, like
it's been me.
Me and my sisters will be like, where's Gigi? In Eleuthera, in Nassau, in Bimini. Like, just went through. I was like, what?
Yeah, like I was just living.
Yeah,
I literally was just living,
going with the flow.
And it's like, no,
it was like he anchored. He definitely anchored
like,
you down.
My life is like
a full 360.
360 around him. Like, everything is him. Like, I don't want to do nothing unless I think about him first.
As it should be.
As it should be as a mother.
Right.
But I never knew what that felt like because I was never a mother.
And another thing, sorry to cut you off. Another thing I wanted to touch bases on. I mentioned earlier that your father was never a part of your life.
Right.
So, like, how did you feel like you failed? Like, once baby daddy decided, like, nope, I'm not doing this.
Definitely, because growing up without a father figure and without a father, I always said, like, that would be my number one thing to not do.
Right.
To not put myself in that position to not have a father figure for my children or for my child. Like,
right.
That was always a no for me. Mm-hmm. So when I started to see it happening, it was like,
here we go again. Here we go again.
How you get here? Right. You was trying so hard to not put yourself in this situation.
Right.
And that's why I say, like, boy, God just know what he's be doing, because I literally, out of the adult years in my life, like, I literally, like, made decision to not have children because I didn't want, I always felt like no man was the right man.
Right.
So it was like, after it happened,
like, you avoided this for all these years, only to...
Yes, I did what I had to do, not for my child. I have a deadbeat daddy.
Right.
And it still ended up happening. But I just thank God for my son. I
Right.
thank God that he's here. I don't regret him being here. Like I said, I've grown as a human being. I've grown as a daughter. I've grown as a sister, as a friend, as a mother, definitely. And I just see a lot of pros. Like,
Right.
definitely it outweigh the bad.
Right.
And I look at my son some nights and I just think about the things that has transpired thus far, and I'm like, boy, you teach me so much. Like, you help me so much. You still helping me, and I just look at him now, and I'm like,
Where would I be
what I was gonna be doing right now,
at
like,
this moment?
and the path I was going on, I don't feel like.
You feel like he derailed you to save yourself?
Definitely, because like I said, even in the relationship I was in, I was happy, but I couldn't stop my significant other at the time from going to jail.
Right.
So who knows what I would have been doing
Right.
after the fact or whatever. So him being here, trust me, and like you said, I used to be gone a lot. Only time I'm really gone now, or the places I go now, is here because he has to attend doctors.
And do all his doctor visits and all that stuff.
And that's another, I would say another battle, or like you could say hurdle, that we continuously crossing, because he has to go to doctors every month, basically. He has a few doctors that he just have to go to or whatever, and it just be a lot.
And expensive.
And very expensive, and especially
to travel back
the
and
fact that
forth.
I'm not working, so, and it's not really the fact that I don't want to work, but because he have to be coming over so much, it's like, okay,
what job are you gonna be able to work?
Like, who do you think you is?
And also, who, like you say, the island that you were even at, who are you gonna trust to keep your child and say, okay, in 4 hours give him this, in 2.5 hours give him this. If you see him do this, you need to call me immediately.
Right, like I literally had no one, and then everybody got their own thing going on in their life.
And their own kids, like we all.
What do you do for your child or treat your child
the way you treat them? I always say that.
Since my baby came out of the hospital at 4 months, and he's gonna be 2 in July. He's still on medication 3 times a day. And it's a lot, but I just keep thinking like, Kiki, your baby was dead.
Right.
And now he is alive and he is kicking and
walking.
So if I have to give him medicine 5 times a day,
I'll do it.
I will do it. So it's been a lot, and I know the journey. And they say the marathon continues.
The marathon continues.
The journey has just begun.
Rest in peace, Nipsey.
Yes, the journey has just begun, and I'm willing, I'm able, I'm ready. And even if I wasn't ready, I was getting ready.
Right.
Because I wasn't ready in the beginning, but I take everything full throttle, head on. When I don't understand, I ask questions. I Google. Listen. Any little thing that happens, I don't care what no one say. I call in who I know could give me the answer to what's going on with my son.
Right.
Because I not only want the best for him, I want him to thrive. Right. I don't want him to have to need me for forever. And then the type of Down syndrome that he has, I didn't say this. It's not that he won't be able to do anything. It's just
it takes him a little longer.
Yeah, it takes him longer. So you would see him, or you would look at him now and say, oh, he's gonna be 2, but he looks like he's just gonna be 1.
Yeah,
you know?
He looks like he's like 9 months.
Right,
he's very small.
He doesn't look like almost gonna be 2-year-old. So there's a lot of things that is delayed, and I just look at your son,
right,
my other nephew and niece, and I'd be like,
they're all so close in age.
Right, it's like they're doing so much,
yeah.
You know, they're doing so much, and it's like, even though
they're so close in age,
right, and Khalil is still thriving to compare to what we would normally think he would do, is like, if he didn't have this syndrome, he would be doing the same things with my other niece and nephews doing right now.
Right.
But That just makes him who he is, and that makes me love him even more.
And we thank God he's here.
I just appreciate God and just thank him that he's here. And I love him even more because I know what we had to go through
For him to be
for
here.
him to still be here. It just gives me a greater love, not only for him, but for children that, not even children, but even adults and older people that going through or have what he has. And like I said, it helped me to even study more of what's going on with him, to be able to understand, so I'm more informative.
And spread knowledge.
Things that I would never know had this not happened to him. I would never study these things. I would never read up on these things.
Or even cared.
I wouldn't have cared, honestly. And probably if I saw a video or something like that, I might have been like, oh, or something like that. But now it gives me a passion to want to know more, or to want to know what I could do. I've put myself in syndrome parents groups, like just to be more informative, or just to see like the
stay updated.
And,
Yeah.
So, like I said, without him, I don't know, and only God knows, and I thank him daily.
So what advice would you have for like someone that probably has a special needs child, or maybe just found out that they were pregnant and their child has some type of mental disability?
First of all, I'll definitely tell you that it's not your fault. It's unfortunate, but it's something that happens. Don't beat yourself up. Just inform yourself. Ask a lot of questions, and just do the best that you can do for your child. Don't show them any different to say. If you have other kids or nieces and nephews, like try not to make them feel like
they're disabled.
And trust me, that is hard as a parent, especially knowing what me personally knowing what my son had to go through. Like, I was trying not to be overprotective, but I am at times.
But I think we're all, as parents, we all are. Like, my son is a bully, and sometimes I'm like, hey, what'd you do to him?
But knowing that he has the Down syndrome is like, he could do that. But it's just like, not only the Down syndrome, the heart issue.
It's because you didn't see him go through so much.
I didn't see him at such a fragile state. It's like, I don't want him to have to get back down. Even it could be if a little child push him out or something. Like, I just want to run this aid. But now, as he gets older, I try to, if he fall, I'd be there. But I'm like cheering more. Like, you can get up, baby. You know, you can be all right. It's just a little whatever. As opposed to running to him and trying to baby him up, basically. Like, one day he's gonna have to go to the real world
and fend for himself.
He's gonna be around children that doesn't understand sometimes. So you know, I have to show him that mommy.
But he have a lot of cousins, so we should have no issues at school. And I will be popping up.
And no lie, he has a aura about him, like he's gonna. You only gonna run over him for so long. Eventually, he's gonna be like, I'm not gonna fight back anymore, and you're gonna get it. That's how he is now. So, as much as he makes me talk now, and I'm like, Khalil, don't do that. Khalil, come from up there, Khalil. He's doing the most.
He's striving.
I'm ecstatic for every moment.
Milestone.
Because it's like, you were supposed to be doing this. How you been climbing these stairs? So it's like, I just look at him in awe, honestly. So,
what about what advice would you have to like a single parent for someone that's literally doing it by themselves? The father does not want to be involved. No ties, no strings attached.
I'm going to just say, continue to just try your best to be strong and do whatever it takes legally. So, do what you need to do to just take care of your child and make sure that he or she wants for nothing. It's gonna be hard, not only physically, mentally, emotionally. It's gonna be a lot of hard times, but nothing is impossible. Especially when you have God, especially when you know God, when you have a relationship with Him. And like I said, this situation has only brought me closer to Him. So I would just give you the advice to just keep on keeping on. Because trust me, the children are definitely worth it. They're definitely gonna bring you joy, bring you up when you're feeling like I just ready to give up.
Right.
I've had moments that I was just like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. Like, I've had times where I've contemplated and even put the efforts out to put my child's baby daddy in court.
Right.
And God just he just turned my heart because He's always provided. Always. My child has never met a hungry day, has never met a day that he didn't have. He actually has more than he needs, to be honest. And for someone that is not working, that doesn't have
the support
far as the father and even support on the whole, like, I thank God for my mother. I know if I truly need, I can always call her, and I have a few other family members, my sisters, I have them, but it's never been to the extent where I had to call to say, oh, you really need this, like, could you all this? No, God has always provided, and I'm just forever grateful, and I just could tell y'all to just put God first. Trust that it's gonna work out.
I love it.
It's gonna work out.
Okay, so guys, we're gonna close. That was amazing. Thank you
For having me.
Thank you for speaking, because I was already kind of nervous. I'm like,
I was too at first.
I was like, listen, she gonna tell me no, but like, she my sister. Like, what choice? Like, can you really just tell me no?
We talked about this whole podcast thing, so I'm just happy that you gave me the opportunity to, help you on your journey with all of this.
And I thank you for encouraging me, because I talk myself, and a few people around me talk me out of it a couple times, and I think you were the first person that I opened up and shared this idea when you was like, what? Go for it. Like, I can definitely see you doing this.
Yes,
so
love to talk.
Like, listen, this is what I do effortlessly.
Yes, I saw the vision. And I'm glad that you have pushed to bring it into fruition, and I'm glad I can be of some small type of assistance.
Oh, thank you. So guys, make sure you tune in next week Monday for another episode.
Share.
Yes, like, share, subscribe. If you guys know someone that's going through a situation or a situation similar to this, or that can use hearing someone else's story for encouragement, motivation, whatever, that's what we're here for. And go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. Send me a DM. Like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about all the issues that we face day to day, month to month, year to year. That
talking helps.
Yeah, talking helps. Like, we go through these things, and we think that we have to take these things with us to bed every night. No, we don't.
You're not the only one that's going through it. Someone in the world out there.
Yeah, and a lot of the things that you may go through, it's definitely maybe for someone else.
Right.
So just share your story, share your experiences, your trials and tribulations. That's what we're here for. We're here to help each other. So go ahead and close us out, girly.
Yes, well, my name is Shanique, aka Gigi, and not only have I lived it, I've survived it, and I am surviving it.
Thank you. Bye guys. See you guys next week.
Bye-bye.